Hello, welcome to day number 3. It's our last day together. All right, let me make sure I have everything on. We are going to draw our winner from yesterday. Let's do that now before I forget. Okay. All right, so it's the same fancy way that I did it yesterday. I just close my eyes and let the cursor pick who it's going to be. Allison, Allison Grave. Allison Grave with an easy name to say. Looks like the email is Allison Fish. So Allison Grave slash fish. You are the winner. I will email you and I will get your goodie out. Weather pending because I guess we are getting another storm here in South Dakota. And let's pray to the school gods that there is school tomorrow because it's my 40th birthday and I don't want to spend all day with my kid just later on. My husband is also leaving and going fishing, and so I have several days by myself with them, and I really just don't want to do the work and do the life with kids home again. We also just got back from Florida. So not that I'm complaining, however, I will say like I've been with my kids a lot. And so I don't know that I have it in me to do an extra day this weekend. All right. I am not finding my notes. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 minute. I did a good job being organized all this week, and now I can't find my notes. It's also because I have 25,000 tabs open. All right. Okay, my friends. So Tuesday, we talked about the 3 pillars to physical weight loss, right? So understanding your blood sugar stability. We need to be focusing on whole foods. I'm not going to back down from that. And then also for our meal timing so that our cortisol, melatonin, and sleep are on point. And that will help with the energy downregulation that often happens with you, right? When we're not eating the right kinds of things, the right kind of foods, having the right meal timing, that's just the beginning phases of getting into a weight loss resistance phase or state and your body down regulating energy. Okay. And then yesterday we talked about stress, hormonal imbalances. And today we're going to talk about the emotional side of health and weight loss, because let's be honest, you actually didn't get here without inadvertently making decisions that puts your body in a tough spot. These decisions come from emotions and feelings that you were uncomfortable with at the time, and then you tried to flee from. So you did something that made yourself feel better, and you either felt better right away or you had hoped it would make you feel better. And what those actions have been doing for that long period of time is putting your body in this state of energy down regulation, which increases your stress response, which affects your hormones, which then puts you into a state of weight loss resistance. So let's like flesh this out and say, like, what does this actually look like for you day to day? What's actually happening? And also, I forgot to mention the chat is up, the Q&A is up. Questions, put them in here. Remember, this is our last day together. So when I answer any questions that you have, I will leave time at the end for that. And then also the chat, if you are telling me things, make sure and put them in there. And I love to hear feedback too from today's call. And actually, okay, good. I was like, I gotta make sure. Are there people in here? There are people in here. All right. So let's flesh this out. What does this actually look like? You come home from work, right? Everyone is whining and complaining. You also are irritable because this 4 to 5 p.m. time spot, 6 p.m. is like witching hour for everyone. We know this as new moms. We have this beautiful newborn baby and it gets to this time of day and they just cry all the time. And it's called the witching hour. And the thing is all humans have this, right? So we get to a point in the day when our capacity is out. So everyone's whining and complaining. You also are internally whining and complaining, and you think, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this all. And so you start to feel out of control. And what you'll do is you'll grab a glass of wine and you'll grab some chips while you make everyone dinner, right? Or throw some Cheez-Its at them to get them to be quiet for a while. I'm not saying that's ever happened in my house. And then you eat the snacks, you drink your wine, and now the dinner's made, and you're just not actually very hungry. And so you skip dinner, you clean up dinner, and then a few hours later, you need a snack before bed, right? And then you don't sleep well. You end up tossing and turning, and you wake up tired. You skip your workout, and you feel kind of bloated from the night before from all the salt and the carbs and the wine. And then you skip breakfast because you think, I'm just going to make up for the calories that I probably overate yesterday, right? And then you grab a coffee because you're tired. And then you go to work and you're starving by noon. You overeat lunch and you're tired at that 3 p.m. time slot. So you have a snack and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. What you think that you think the problem is that you have a food problem. But if we take a look at this, you actually have an overwhelm and a stress problem, right? When we go back and look at this, these actions didn't come from you not understanding what to eat. These problems came from the fact that you perceive your life and your situations to be too stressful and overwhelming. So let's do another flush. You weigh yourself and it's up 10 pounds. You gain back the 10 pounds you lost last year or whatever it is, right? You think, I'm a failure. I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get this under control. You feel disappointment and you feel some fear. So you search out a quick fix on Google or the last Instagram influencer you saw, and you sign up and you commit, I'm going to lose these 10 pounds this month. So you buy all the diet foods, you drink all the shakes, you try out running, and you're hungry. And you're very hungry. You white knuckle your way through 5 days straight, and you're tired. Your husband asks, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? And you think it's only one dinner. So you go, you overeat, you overdrink, and then you wake up and you have guilt and remorse. You assume, again, I'm never going to get my shit together. And you continue to do this over and over again. What you think your problem is that you can't stick to anything. What your actual problem is that you were only interested in seeing the scale go down because that's what you think will make you feel good. That's not really what matters. What matters is your energy, your sleep, making it a lifestyle for yourself and managing your stress. Sorry, I don't know what that was. Something just fell in my house. If you made it about those things, your approach would be vastly different. And you'd be able to see it all the way through instead of um, getting to your goal and then sabotaging yourself and regaining it. But it's not your fault that none of this has been taught to you, but it is your responsibility to do better once you know better. Most of the time, when you hear about weight loss resistance, it's only going to be discussed in the physical form. Your body can't lose weight. Your body is holding on to weight due to several factors. So you work just on the physical things and then that's it, right? And that looks like here's a supplement. Avoid these foods, eat more of this. But no one's talking about how you actually got yourself here. I would be doing a disservice to you if I just handed you a plan and told you to do this, and then you would feel better. You've got to get to the root cause of everything. Functional medicine and functional health is all about getting to the root cause, but what they're missing is that most of this root cause is actually with your emotional and mental capacity, which affects your physical capacity to lose weight, right? We're missing the picture here. And we've got to see that it involves you as an entire human being, not just your body. It involves your mind. It involves the feelings you have. It involves your spirit. It involves your physical body. I was actually in a very tough spot physically in 2022. And I just said physically, but it was all things 2022. Background, I had done competing, bodybuilding competing. The last competition I think I did was 2018 or 2019, which that's very physically demanding, right? I also have a lifetime of incredible stress. My mom's had breast cancer for 5 years, and so I watched her struggle through that. I went through a divorce when I was young. I got married when I was young. I had a baby when I was young. Um, and also my childhood had some light trauma, is what I would say. Um, and so I have a lifetime of stress, is what I'm saying my background is here. And it was 2020. And then also 2021, I got COVID and I started a business. Or I didn't start my business. I went full time into my business, which is a huge stressor on your nervous system, right? I have this foreign virus I'm fighting off. I also just quit my job and I went in full time with my business. 2022, things start to catch up to me and I hire somebody to help me. I knew I was stressed. I knew that there were things going on with my body that I needed help with, and I didn't want to manage it myself. So I hired somebody to do this for me. Um, I was given supplements. I was told, do XYZ, here's your plan. And then that was it. I was told, manage your stress. Okay, cool. I am really stressed. I understand that. But I also feel very stuck. Because what I want you to understand is that when you're in the thick of it, you can't always see your way out. Even me, somebody knew who's I knew so much about stress. I knew so much about your body, of my body and your bodies, and I just couldn't get out of it. And the person I hired to help me, she didn't. I also, just so you know, I'm just going to throw this out there. I paid her $800 a month. FYI, mindfully well, my program is less than half of that. And I give you 5 times more than what most people are giving out there, right? Because I'm not here to sell a really expensive program to you. I'm here to help you and help as many people as I possibly can at the lowest price that I can do that. I often hear from clients or prospective clients who talk to me about things and their problems is that they've spent tons of money on these things before and on labs and supplements and providers, and they've never felt better. They maybe got a plan that was handed to them, and then it's just best wishes. Do your best, right? But the reason why this is so important is to understand that your reason for weight loss resistance didn't just happen on its own. Your body didn't just rebel against you and go rogue without a reason and for resisting to lose weight. Remember, your body always has your back. Your body always has a reason, is always responding to your environment, the environment that you put your body in. So, handing you a lab with results and a side of supplements isn't going to get you feeling better long term, because there is a mental and emotional connection as well as physical. And many times we do choose this path of just getting a plan because, well, it's easier, right? Tell me something is wrong with me so I can feel validated, which it does. And I support this 100%. If you need validation that the way you feel is truly how you feel, because I know that many times we are discredited about our opinions and our thoughts and our feelings about our bodies, and I will never do that to you. Um, but give me a plan, right? And tell me this is wrong with me. And then I will do this and I will go 100% in because I feel so miserable and I'm also so desperate. So give me a plan and do it. And there's no way I will fall off this plan because I need this weight off right now. I need to feel better. And then you start it and you feel a little bit better. And then life happens, and then you make a slip up, and then you just make that mean that you don't have time for this right now. Often the feeling of seeing the change you're desperate for is actually enough to quit. It doesn't make sense, but it happens all the time. Think about your history with weight loss or trying to feel better, whatever that is for you. What happens when you start to feel better? You see that you can do it. You prioritize something else and you go backward, with the reassurance that you could do it if you wanted to, but now's not the time. You need someone to hold you to it, to see it all the way through. Now is the time because, my friend, you don't get to have more time. Why would you wait to feel better? Why would you wait to feel your best? This is classic sabotage because really it's the thoughts and the feelings of you that need coaching, along with a physical plan to help you feel better. So let's talk about discipline because so many times discipline is often the scapegoat. I don't have discipline, right? Or I need more discipline. And you think that if you could just be harder on yourself, that you would do it. But that's actually not true. You're pretty hard on yourself already, if we're being honest. Being more mean isn't helpful. The truth is that you actually don't need more discipline. You just need direction and management of your efforts. You need a little discipline to hold you to the task long enough to make it a habit. And when I say a habit, I'm not talking about 25 habits. That's many times where we go wrong. We think we have to do all the things in order to get there. You just have to do one thing and have enough discipline to make that one thing a habit. You see me and you believe that I am very disciplined, right? Because you often see me doing what I say I'm going to do. And I do this. It is true. But it's because I'm willing to create a habit, and everything that you see me do was because of short-term discipline. It's not because I did everything 100%. I did very few things 100%, made them a habit, and now it's who I am. What you think is that you need to do everything perfectly, day in and day out. And you believe that if you can do that, you'll see results. If it's perfect, then you'll get what you want. But if this is what you're going for, you'll end up frustrated and you'll end up quitting. And you know that that's true because perfectionism doesn't exist. You made it up in your mind. You actually just need to be consistent. And also, let's just throw this out here. You're very confused on what perfectionism is and what consistency is. And I teach you that in Mindfully Well. Because really, you just need to be disciplined long enough to form a habit. Sustainable weight loss is about doing the right thing, not about doing everything right. Remember yesterday when I said that you only have so much stress capacity before you run out? It's the same thing with this. We only have so much emotional capacity to hold discipline and willpower. We know that eventually it will run out. So what we do is we take our focus and we put that on what matters most. It's my 20-80 rule. And it's that 20% of your effort actually equals 80% of your results. And we find what that is for you together in Mindfully Well. What can you do that's 20% of your effort and it creates most of your results? Because we all have it. We all have this one thing that works really well for ourselves and doesn't require all the discipline and all the willpower and all the effort because that's exhausting. You can't do that. And we find this together, right? Sometimes it's actually your morning workout. Sometimes it's your daily food plan. Sometimes it's your stress management. Sometimes it's meal prep, right? We find it and we focus on that. And from that, then you create your results and you have this beautiful thing called momentum, which we need to keep going, right? Because we can't wake up every day and expect there to be willpower and discipline and all of this energy all the time. What we need to do is create the momentum. And once you have momentum, right, think about riding your bike up a hill. When you're at that bottom of that hill, it's really hard. It requires a lot of effort, right? And once you get closer to that top of the hill and then you crest it, now it becomes so much easier. And that's what we need to do is that we need to create your momentum. And we need to find the thing that helps you create your momentum. What is the 20% that is going to get you over that hill and then you can crest on the way down? So we find what that is for you. We focus on that. We build discipline on that. We only use discipline for what's necessary. We don't build discipline around 100 things. That's exhausting. And let's be honest, you're already tired. So we choose the right thing and we put your effort there. And over time, what happens is that the 20% effort habit becomes easier and easier to sustain. Habits require much less energy and effort to maintain than to begin. And now that 20% effort becomes easy. You become the woman you want to be. You become the woman who does what she said she would do. You become consistent and weight loss becomes easier. This actually isn't about working harder anymore. We're done with that. You need to work smarter. Because we as women, we don't willingly go in and make things harder for ourselves. We don't wake up in the morning and think, how can I make my life really hard today? But we often don't think that there's any other way. And you think that it must be willpower. It must be getting up earlier. It must be doing more cardio. It must be eating far less. And this is going to set yourself up for failure. But here's one important thing to remember is that you won't always have willpower. You think you will. You think you should, but you won't. Because we know that one day it's there and the next day it's not. Willpower isn't on will call. Willpower, however, is so important that it should only be used when necessary and with the right timing. It's not a 24/7 thing. Willpower is like a rechargeable battery. It needs rest. It needs break. Willpower is actually limited. Willpower is a resource, and all resources must be managed. The more you use it, actually, the less you have, and eventually you run out. And actually, the food you eat is a very key player to the level of willpower. Because I talk a lot about the mind, right? I mean, my podcast is Mindfully Well. My program is Mindfully Well. If you don't use your mind, you're running on a tight ship, right? So your brain actually consumes a fifth of the calories that you consume. It uses that for energy. A fifth of the calories that you eat go straight to your brain. It's a very energetically taxing organ. And if you think about the size of your brain, that's not that much. It's like this. It's actually like 1/50th or 1/15th. It has a 5 in it. Those are different numbers. It's a small percentage of your body mass, and it takes a lot of calories. Um, it's also the place, your mind is also the place that manages your willpower. So if your brain isn't getting enough of the right kind of fuel and it's managing your willpower, what do you think is going to happen? You'll have to quit because you'll be exhausted. So think about dieting and intense calorie restriction, taking away a lot of your food sources. Your brain isn't getting the calories and the nutrients it needs to function. And then you're asking willpower on top of that. That's a recipe for disaster. You're going to crash and you're going to burn. But when you feed your body the right foods and you focus on blood sugar stability, because your brain loves to have stable glucose, your brain will function very well. And now you'll have managed willpower and brain power because willpower will be needed less. When you work smarter and not harder, you don't have to rely on willpower. And your brain gets the nutrients and calories it needs to function well. Now you've set yourself up beautifully to get through the day without running out of energy and willpower and discipline because you are managed and you are fueled. Now compare that to diets with over restriction and loads of willpower. The result is always going to be quitting. Now, do we need willpower to make changes? We sure do. I'm not going to say that willpower is never necessary. It definitely is necessary, but we need to use it wisely. Know what you're using your willpower for. And then the other thing is use it earlier on in the day. Because if you notice that your patterns are that you are consuming most of your calories when you get home from work, You can see that this is because you've probably run out of willpower and you haven't been consuming the right foods there earlier on in the day, right? You've been abstaining from foods and now you're starving. You have no willpower. Your glucose or your blood sugar is all wacky and wonky, and everyone is yelling and screaming at you. Of course, you're consuming too many foods in the evenings, right? Know what you're using your willpower for and use it earlier in the day. And this is why exercising and movement should actually be done earlier as well. Now, any movement is better than no movement. However, you're so much more likely to get it done when you do it in the morning. We all know that, right? It's also why I encourage you and my clients to do their meal prepping at the beginning of the week. For one, you're well rested. You can think about your week ahead of time. And two, this is when you have space and mental capacity to be able to do these things. And it's also why I have my clients plan their foods every day in the morning. And it's because they have not only the capacity to be able to do this and they're not exhausted, but they also have this beautiful part of your brain that makes wonderful decisions when you think about it ahead of time. Why wouldn't we use that part of our mind to make our food choices? Whereas we use our reactive mind to make our food choices, of course, we're going to choose the quick and easy. Of course, we're going to choose the thing that sounds really good right now. You use your mind purposely in ways to help yourself instead of hurting yourself, right? Because your lack of healthy habits didn't just happen, which should actually feel like a breath of fresh air. Because if you can feel relief that it doesn't just happen, you can actually feel relief that you could solve this. This is the difference between consumption and creation. You can't change by just knowing the things. And you know this because you know so much already, right? How much social media have you consumed without making any changes? How many times have you Googled things without making any changes? How many podcast episodes of mine have you listened to? And this is the third day of the Right Way week. And have you implemented what you've learned? Knowledge and consumption is one thing. Practicing and doing and creating your future is another. You need to become skilled at allowing these urges. You need to become skilled at building habits and establishing that healthy lifestyle that you want. When you become skilled and no longer depend on just consumption as your missing piece, you actually become that confident woman with the energy and the pride, and you get dressed with ease in the morning. You become a calm mom who doesn't lose her shit because the scale went up. You become free because you no longer feel stuck in your body. But this happens with practice. It happens with the doing and no longer trying to find the exact right answer because it's not out there. The exact answer isn't out there. And if it was, you would have found it by now. What you actually need is skill. Knowledge does not create skill. Here's an example I love to use. Do you want a med student who has never been in the OR operating on you just because she did 4 years of med school? Hell no, you don't. You want the surgeon who's been in the OR hundreds and thousands of times because you trust that skill. Stop going out there trying to figure it out only to consume more information without practicing the skill that you need. And then you feel frustrated because you're not changing. There's nothing wrong with you. What's happening is that you're just stopping the process of change at consumption and not creation. You need to create your goal. You need to create your energy and you need to create your weight loss. You don't need to know more. You need to practice the skill of sustainable weight loss. You need to build the emotional capacity to tolerate the discomfort of change and become a healthier person, no longer relying on previous coping methods of scrolling, eating junk food, and avoiding what actually needs to be addressed. Not doing this work will keep you stuck. You feel frustrated because you know you don't feel good. You have the information, but yet you're not changing. because now you know it's not as simple as that. The reason you aren't creating your skills is actually because of the number one reason that I see that people don't implement the skill, the doing, is because of failing. You failed so many times before. Why would this time be different? But here's the difference, is that you need to learn how to fail, but fail forward instead of backwards. Because failing is actually the key to your success. When something doesn't work, are you actually able to use this moment and this information as a tool to learn and fail forward closer to your goal? Or do you use this moment to declare what you already believed, and it's that you can't do this? There's something wrong with you. You'll never get it. You truly are stuck. You're going to prove that to yourself if you believe that. Or will you be willing to use this failure as a pathway to success instead of another way to beat yourself up and quit? Most people don't know how to do this, but it's imperative that you figure this part out, or you'll never actually be able to move forward. You'll stay in being not resilient. You'll always have your emotional capacity maxed out, and you'll be highly critical of yourself instead of being loving and compassionate to yourself. A lot of times you tell yourself, if I just feel bad enough, then I'll change. How often do you do this on a Sunday night? The Last Supper before you start again on Monday? How often do you then slowly quit on yourself because you do start to feel better by Wednesday and Thursday, and then it's Friday? And then you deserve a day off or a meal off. And that ends up to be Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. And you do it all over again. You think, if I feel bad enough, then I'll be forced to change. You've had a lifetime of messaging to figure it out, but you haven't. And then you feel shame and defeat, and then you think that you should just know. You should just know how. And you end up spending days, weeks, and months and years beating yourself up and trying to forget or trying to find the motivation to start over. Stop wasting time. When the kids are older, when the kids are less busy, when this thing is paid off, when work is less hectic, there will never be a better time than now. No one ever says, I wish I would have waited. But everyone says, I wish I would have done this sooner. Your future can't wait. What would you, 1 year from now, in the body you love, the mindset that's clear, and the emotionally resilient woman you are, say to you now? She'd say, don't wait. She'd say, everything you're scared of is worth feeling. She'd say, you don't have to be perfect to start. She'd say, you're actually not stuck. She'd say, freedom is for you. You can have it. The problem is that you're just allowing the personal circumstances of your life, work, kids, relationships, dictate your thoughts and your feelings. And then you allow those circumstances to tell you what to do instead of deciding for yourself. And you make them mean that it's the only option, when really you're just taking the temporary, easy way out of choosing your outside of yourself versus choosing for you. When you have your own emotional resistance to change, you make it mean something personal to you. Why can't I do this? I'm not capable. Maybe I just don't want this bad enough. I can't trust myself. You beat yourself up with these kinds of thoughts, and you get stuck in a cycle of resistance. And you convince yourself that the reason that you have this resistance is that something is wrong with you. There's no worse place to be in than this, when you feel this way and then you try to make a change again without coaching. This is why you have emotional resistance to your follow through. And it's because you sabotage. You think that it must be maybe the problem with the plan. It wasn't the right thing. And so you go to the next thing. I'll try that. You never actually give it enough time. You don't have any patience. So you change things over and over again, thinking that it's the problem, right? That's the problem. But the problem relies in you, in your resistance to follow through. And resistance is like a brick wall, right? Here's you, here's this wall. This is your resistance, and your answers are on the other side of it. But you can't access it until you start chipping away at this wall, which is the emotional and mental connection that comes along with the physical weight loss resistance. That's the difference. The difference between the wrong way and the right way to lose weight is that the right way is filled with love and the wrong way isn't. Because if you think that you'll feel that way when you lose the weight, you won't. If you think that love will be there because you lost weight, it won't. You have to feel those things and become the person that is those things on the way there. So, how do you do this? How do you start? How do you have the discipline that you need to still do the things that you want to do that do, in fact, actually feel uncomfortable and make your reactive primal brain scream no? That in the moment, it will feel very easy to not do, right? How do you do this while still having compassion for yourself when it doesn't happen, right? So, how do you do the hard thing that you know is best for your future, that you, in the moment, you don't want to do it? Your brain is screaming, find something else to do. This doesn't matter. It's only one cookie. It's only one bowl of ice cream, right? How do you do that? And then knowing sometimes that you actually won't be able to do it, but you don't have to hate yourself. And the answer is self-love. If every decision that you make comes from self-love, there is no problem. Whether that's a cookie, whether that's scrolling Facebook, lifting weights, or eating a salad. When you make a decision, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to build the trust that you will always have your back. You will always know what's best for you, and you'll stop doing the things that hold you back. Because if you're willing to call yourself out on your own shit, this is self-love. If you're willing to love yourself unconditionally through the end, because you can't hate yourself on the way there and expect to wake up on the morning of reaching your goal and expect to love yourself now, because it won't be there. You'll be disappointed and you'll say, I actually thought it would be a lot different. I thought this roll would be gone. I thought my legs would look better. I thought I'd finally love myself. And then you ask, what do I do now? And when you haven't done this from a place of self-love initially, you'll continue to either push harder, get your body to a spot that we talked about yesterday, where nothing works anymore. You're tired, you're sad, and you're empty. And then and the self-love still won't be there. And then you will have done all this work on yourself because you thought you were doing the right thing, but it didn't work. And you will sabotage yourself and go right back to where you were. And many of you have done this time and time again because you never did it for the right reason. You never did it from the beginning with self-love because you never found what you were looking for when that scale went down, which was love all along. And this is where coaching comes in. This is where having a coach who knows you and understands you and your life circumstances and holds unconditional love and space for you and your goal. Because often when you set out to do this for the very last time, you'll lack some belief because of your past, because of failures, because of stopping and starting all over again. And your mind will tell you the same story. Oh, here she goes again. It happens to every client that I talk to, that I have. A month in, she's lost some weight, and her mind says, here we go again. It's only inevitable. The scale's going to go back up. If you don't believe me, Okay, but your mind will tell you the same story. Here she goes again. But with me as your coach, I'll hold your belief until you're ready to take it. If you don't believe that you can do this, let me hold your belief until I can get you there. And this is how I coach you to physical, emotional, and mental autonomy. Believing, trusting, and completing it all on your own. Mindfully well will get you there. If you want it, it will happen. And what if I actually told you that it was inevitable? What would you do? If you knew that you could have what you wanted and it was inevitable, what would you do? I know what you'd do. You'd do it, right? And you'd join Mindfully Well because you know that that would be your buddy, the thing you put in your pocket to get you all the way there. So if you're going to do this time, you need to do it for love. Do it for you because at the end of this, no one is going to do it for you. I know your goal and I understand your goal. I know how to get you there. I know how to see you to it. And I can also see your whole picture when you can't. That's what a coach does. When you need a rest, but you can't see it, I do. When you need a push, but you can't see it, I can. When you need tough love, but you can't see it, I love you through it and show you how to love yourself back. Self-love looks like evolving trust so you know when to pick up the weight or take a nap. Self-love looks like doing what you said you would do, even when it's uncomfortable, because you know that you've got your back. Self-love looks like staying conscious in your feelings and not eating to cover them up, because you know what you really need. And it's not a bowl of ice cream, but sometimes it is. Self-love looks like getting up and working out because you actually know now what a rested body feels like. Self-love looks like committing to quality sleep because you know what a tired body looks like. Self-love looks like taking a rest day because you love your body enough to rest and you know that you're not going to gain all your weight back because you took a rest day. Self-love looks like saying no when you want to say no and saying yes when you want to say yes. And it looks like knowing what you want and following through. Remember on Tuesday when you told me what you want? That's what you need to stick to. It's not 100 things. It's that. Write it down, whatever that thing was. You emailed it to me, but I want you to email it back to yourself. I want you to put it on your screensaver on your computer, put it on your phone, write a post-it note on your mirror. You need to put it everywhere so your mind can see it. And remember, that's where we're going. I write down all of my goals every single day. I have 10 goals. Every morning, I write them down over and over and over again. And actually, I had this beautiful moment this morning. This wasn't even part of my plan today. I've been doing this practice for, I don't know, like 7, 8 years. Um, this morning, if you live in Sioux Falls area, South Dakota, it was a beautiful sunrise and we have all this white snow. It's very fresh while it's bitterly cold and I don't actually want to be outside. It was beautiful out there and the sun was rising and everything was orange. And I looked out and I thought to myself, this is the dream. This is actually what I wrote down in my journal like 7 years ago, was to be living where I'm living, to be running my business on my own, to have my children. The things I wrote down in there, I live them. And it's because I put them in front of me every single day. Right? So what I'm putting in my goals right now, although it's hard to see that it's going to happen, I'm proof that it happens. You're proof that it happens. You being here, me doing this today is proof that this is my dream. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do. I'm living exactly where I wanted to live. Right? So me writing down the things that I'm doing right now and not knowing exactly how I'm going to do it, I know that it's going to happen. because that's how we do it. We prove it to our minds. We show our minds over and over again. You must love yourself to that feeling. And when you get there, it's so much better. The thing you wrote down, you must love yourself to that thing all the way there. And then when you get there, it's so much better. When you get there, you get to keep your goal instead of sabotaging yourself back to where you were. That's the missing link. That's what you haven't done. It's not just about the foods in your body, although the foods matter. And when we change what's going on up here and we change what's going on in here, the food thing just happens because it's really about how you think. It's about how you feel and then what you do from those feelings. We have got to stop micromanaging everything over here and everything on the scale. And we have to start clearing out the stuff and the clutter up here. So, are you going to commit to loving yourself through this? Are you going to stop putting it off? Because now's your time. There is no better time than today, than to say yes to yourself and yes to your future. Can you imagine what it would be like 1 year from today and you saying to yourself right now, future version you, present version of you, I'm so glad that you did this. Thank you for taking a chance and for not making me have to start over again this year and for not making me have to restart and try to reinvent myself year after year, only to end up doing the same things. We've got to stop the madness. And you are totally capable of this. You are so capable. And I hope that you can see that. That whether you join the program or not, you are capable. You can do this. Mindfully Well will make it a hell of a lot easier for you. I can promise you that. And we can make it inevitable that you don't have to start over next year. So Mindfully Well is open for enrollment until it's full or next Friday. And before I got on this call, I have 6 spots left. Okay. So if you want in, you better grab your spot. And I think that's all I have for today. Let me see. Do I have questions in here? I will. How much is a spot? So it is $3.99 a month and it's a 4-month program. So $3.99 a month for 4 months. It does, my program does take HSA and Flex spending accounts if you have that. But there are some that just don't work. And I don't have a rhyme or reason as to why some work and some don't. It's really your HSA and your Flex doing what it does. I did have to write a note for somebody the other day, and I think that works. Sometimes if you send that in, but outside of that, like that's as far as HSA and Flex, that's where that's at. But most work, some don't. I just don't know which ones why or what the reason is. But it's $3.99 a month, and that's for 4 months. So four payments of $3.99. What other questions do you guys have? Put them in the chat, put them in the Q&A. Will this program be personalized to you? Yes. So it is a hybrid program of one-to-one and group. So you do have a one-on-one call with me every single month where this is where our strategy comes in, where I really can know what's working and what's not working. And then our group calls are mostly mindset related. The reason why I have a program that's hybrid of one-to-one and group is because I know you still want that personal touch and that personal accountability with me. And I also know that there's something beautiful to having a group of women in the same space that are all working towards similar things. Because if it was just you and I coaching together for 4 months, you would only bring me 4 months of problems. But if I put you into a group of 50 other women and you get to hear the coaching from 50 other women, now that's multiplied by 50. Your experience is so much more expansive. You get so much more out of the program when you hear other people be coached, because the truth is you can always hear yourself in somebody else's coaching and somebody else's problems. The truth is that there are not 100 problems that you have. The truth is that there is usually condensed down to less than 20 problems that you all bring me. And so you will hear all of this, everyone being coached in different ways, and me saying the different things and hearing them bring the problem in different ways. Now your experience is so much bigger and so much larger. And so that's why I have one-on-one and group. But your protocol, your plan is personalized to you. Um, because not everyone should be eating the same things. Not everyone needs the same calorie amounts. Not everyone is going to be doing the same kinds of movements. Not everyone is estrogen dominant, right? So if you have a thing that needs to be worked on specifically, you get that. And so we, during your orientation call with me, that's your one-on-one, we go over your personalized protocol where I give you all that information. And then does this include labs? It does not include labs because I only order labs if necessary. I don't do unnecessary testing, but when there's a time and space for that testing, we definitely will do that. Labs will run anywhere from, I believe, 360 to 390. And that one is always covered by HSA. I've never seen an HSA or Flex account reject that service. But insurance does not cover that because it's a functional lab testing, and most insurances don't cover that. But the labs that I do are generally Dutch test, or and GI map test. And then if you have labs from your doctor that you've done in the last year, I look at those as well. So if you have thyroid tests, especially, I like to see those, cholesterols, general labs, things like that is, but the most important one that I like to see is thyroid. Even if your doctor said your thyroid was fine, I can usually see if your thyroid is still struggling. It doesn't mean that you have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, but it does mean that you're, just because it's fine doesn't mean your thyroid is functioning optimally. And that would be a big flag as to why you're not losing weight, right? Because if your body is stressed, remember your thyroid is in your body, your thyroid is also feeling stressed. So it's not going to convert hormones as well as what it could be if things were functioning very well. So I like to see thyroid tests as well. I don't necessarily order those, but your doctor will usually run that if we feel like we need to see that. And then that's covered by insurance and HSA. But I don't do labs unnecessarily because I don't want to add in cost for you if it's not necessary, right? So, but that is the wholesale cost of the labs. I don't upcharge them at all. I give you exactly what that would cost me if I was to include it in the program. But that way I'm not charging people unnecessarily. Um, Thank you for these 3 days. Powerful, thought-provoking, inspiring sessions. Thank you, Raylan. Thank you. Um, And then, okay, how much time does this take? So this is really designed to give you time back. I don't want to take more time than what you have to give. But will it take some time? Yeah, because you can't keep doing the same thing you're doing. I record all of the information and all of the core content on video form, and that's on when you join the program, it's in the portal that you'll have. So the general concepts of what I'm teaching you. So in the beginning, so the month one is all about physical stuff. So and the reason why we do just physical that first month is because I got to get you feeling better sooner, quicker. I want you to have momentum that we need, right? So that we can keep going the next 4 months. And so we focus on physical stuff that first month. And so that first month, I'm teaching you all about proteins. We're doing your carbs, we're doing your fats, we're tracking your foods. We will track that. And that's because as your coach, I need information to help you make informed decisions. If I don't know what's going on, I can't make an informed decision for you. And you don't have time to waste. So we do track foods. I do teach you how to untrack, like move away from tracking and towards the middle of the program. But in the beginning, we will track. Getting you, okay, so that's, sorry. Then we talk about strength training. We talk about blood sugar stability, all of those physical type of things that need to be implemented in that first month. And then we do what I just talked about. We make that 20/80 thing for you. What's the most important thing that gives you the most bang for your buck and the bang for your time? And that's what we mostly focus on for you. And then I also do the meal prep menu every week. So I have I have a menu that has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. sorry, I have the hiccups now. Um, Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I teach you how to track it, or sorry, prep it ahead of time. I teach you how to make this as easy, quick, and as efficient as you can. I love efficiency. If you're an Enneagram 3, I am. And we love to be efficient. So I am your queen when it comes to efficiency. So I teach you how to do it ahead of time. So it's mostly ready to go. Breakfast and lunch are meal preppable. Your evening meals are going to be family friendly. So your family will eat those with you. They're not weird, foreign recipes. I know how many of you have signed up for programs and you're like, I don't even know what this food is. Where do I find this? I don't have those foods in there. For the most part, it's all very normal, family friendly meals like spaghetti, but you'll maybe make some adjustments to your plan, but your family will have spaghetti. Tacos, you'll make some adjustments. You'll have it on a salad with a side of a fruit or something like that. And then your family will just have regular tacos, right? But that's what it is. You will have one-on call with me per month. That's 30 minutes. And then we do 2 group calls per month, and those are 60 minutes long. Everyone gets coached on the group call, which that's unheard of in the coaching industry. Usually when it's a group, it's you might get picked, you might not get picked, but not in my program. Everybody gets picked. Everyone has a chance to be coached on their group calls. I also record all the group calls, so you can always re-listen to them. People love to have those as a more mindset type of work. You put your earbuds in, you just listen to it, you clean your house, you vacuum your floor, you go for a walk, put it on in your car. You're learning and expanding all of the time without adding more time into your schedule. And then month 2, we focus on stress management, stress awareness. Month 3, we work on the emotional mental connection, although we're really working on that all throughout, but I'm bringing you more content in that month. And then the last month, we work on what is self-sabotage, what is perfectionism, how do you maintain, what do you know, what do you do when you get into a plateau, those kinds of things, so that if you're ready to be on your own after the 4 months, because some people will sign up for another round, which that is the thing that's been going on with my programs, with this program, is that many people sign up for another run. And that's because they love it. And not because they necessarily need it. It's because they love it. And so then you're always grandfathered into the next round if you feel that you want to do another one. But at that point, if you're ready to be on your own, you can be on your own, right? I've taught you the things that you need to know. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Of course, somebody is probably delivering something. So, all right. I don't see any other questions. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're right at 1 o'clock. So this will be, you guys will have access to these replays all the way to January 19. And then I do take them down because there's no point in waiting to do this. And I know that when something is free and we don't have a timeline for it, we just say we'll do it later and then we just never do it, right? So you have till January 19th. And then that will be taken down. Again, enrollment is open. There's only 6 spots left. You want to grab your spot so you can have this incredible experience and you can finally see this all the way through. It's been wonderful having you all here this week. I really enjoyed hearing all of your responses, and I would love to hear back from you in the next email replay, like what you're taking from this and what you're going to do from this. Okay, my friends, you have a beautiful rest of your week. I will see you next time. Bye.